Good evening, all. I see Martin laughing his head off in the background with that music.
What is that music, Steve? Good evening.
That's got to be the worst bit of music ever.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening. Hope you're all well. Thanks for coming over and joining us on our second podcast. Brian's not here tonight because he's entertaining, so it's just the three of us. We was going to bring Martin in, but Brian's decided he'd rather be out eating than be with joining us. So when you see him, you can tell him what you think. But anyway, we are here. So thank everybody.
We're glad he's not here, by the way. But yeah.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that, Brian. I wasn't going to say that. So anyway, as before, similar principles before. Each one of us has chosen a question, and we're going to bring through those topics, and then we're going to spend 10 to 15 minutes on each of those topics, and we're going to chuck it out to the chat, see your views, you'll hear our views. And the good thing is, being Martin, being a professional, we've got Martin's professional hat on to tell us what he thinks as well. So that's one of the benefits of having Martin here. So Terry's going to welcome everybody in first, and then we'll make a start.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Here we go. Well, we only got a few at the moment, but they'll start rolling in as soon as I'll start talking. Norman Greenwell's joined us, followed by Robert Broadwood, Todd at Glencoe Woodworks, Terry Bartley's there, Vinnie Charlton, Barry Wood Creations, Ian Trevenin, Graham Brown, Haley from Wooden Burrow, Pete Twisted Trees, Alan Gibb is in, Fred Gilliver's just popped in as well, and I'm sure there will be a lots more as we go through our evening. Good evening to you all. Thanks for coming.
Welcome.
Evening, Terry.
Everybody who sent me emails after the last podcast, I've got your questions. I'm just going to sit on them for a little bit because we're going to bring them in through the weeks. And then, like we said last month, if anybody wants to come on to have their 15 minutes of discussion, then they are more than welcome. But we'll discuss that a little bit further into the podcast if we carry them on. So let's make a start with the first question. So this is the question number one. It is, if starting wood turning, what is the bare minimum tools needed? So if you was going to be watching this and you thought, I'm going to start wood turning, what is the bare minimum tools that you think that you would need to start with? I personally think you would need bowl gouge, spindle gouge, skew, and a parting tool. Oh, and a roughing gouge, roughing gouge. Well, maybe not. See, I'd use a skew as a parting tool.
Well, yeah, but you might not need a skew to start with.
So just four then: roughing gouge, spindle gouge, bowl gouge, parting tool.
Evening to Martin at Aurora Road Crafts and YV Woodshed as well, by the way. So
I'd put a French curve scraper in there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so that's 5.
I definitely wouldn't put a skew in if you're just starting. It would be it's too temperamental.
It could put you off wood turning before you start.
It could.
Yes. However, of course, those tools would need to be accompanied by somebody that knew what they were doing to show you how to use them, rather than you break your wrist or your arm or jam it in.
Well, yeah, there is that.
You know, if you start,
I'd go spindle roughing gouge, bowl gouge, spindle gouge, parting tool, French nose scraper thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, what is the least most of the people in the chat have actually started with? Or do they just go in and say, I bought a job lot of 64 tools? No.
Yeah.
Just got a lathe. I don't know where to use it.
What does this one do?
Yeah, because most starter sets come with. I mean, this record power starter set I bought had a 3/8 bowl gouge, quarter spindle gouge, roughing gouge, a scraper, a 10mm bead parting tool, and also a skew. Yes, that came with 6 tools. Oh, I think there
Yeah.
was a little tiny spindle gouge in it, and all a real tiny one, like a 6mm or whatever it is.
So Alan Gibb is saying, well, you'll need something to sharpen them with. No, you won't, Alan. There's people in my club have been in the club for about 2 years now. They bring them every other Friday.
That's a
Tuesday.
That's a
And have
different
them
conversation.
sharpened.
That's a different conversation. That one.
Different question. We'll ask. Yeah, that could be a question actually. What sort of sharpening systems do we use? But that's for another day, maybe.
That's a whole hour and a half. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the minimum tool will be the actual cutting tools rather than the machines surrounding wood turning.
Agreed.
So a grinder is a machine, a lathe is a machine. So if we were to assume then that the prospective turner had a lathe and had a grinder, what would be the minimum set of tools, hand tools required?
Yeah, as in gouges.
We teach quite a lot of people here, that is, here. And a lot of them bring their own tools. And a lot of them bring tools I find that are too big, like a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. And they've got, a relatively small MIDI lathe. And personally, I would find a 1/2-inch bowl gouge far too big for a MIDI lathe. In fact, I do some pretty big stuff when I get a chance to turn, and well over 90% of that turning is done with the 3/8.
I think the 1/2 inch is more for removing material than giving you contour and shape, isn't it? Really.
And big stuff.
Yeah.
Big 3/4 inch cuts if you've got a long grind on it. So yeah. My favourite is a 3/4. It's a 3/8 bowl gouge. Simple as that.
Yeah. It's a fantastically versatile tool.
I want to ask Robert. He's put here. When I started back in the 60s, there was a 5-piece set from Maples. Did you buy a set? Marple, yeah. Did you?
No,
buy
I remember
them?
those.
And
Yeah, I
if
remember
you
the
did
Marple
buy
set.
them, have you still got them? Because that would be proves you don't.
I had a
turn
Marple
up,
set as well. I remember the Marple set.
I've got flat chisels from Marple, but I didn't. I take it they don't do them no more.
No, they were actually rubbish at the time. But
Oh right, okay. Good
my
evening, Ruth. Sorry.
My first set of tools is just up there above my window.
You still
I
use
put
them?
them up there as decoration. That was
they should be about an inch long now. You should have grown them all down by now.
no, I
Well,
upgraded
vinyl is-
them fairly quickly. I upgraded them fairly quickly, but that's a set of Chinesium tools.
So do you? Okay, so as saying that, then do you find that you upgraded them very quickly, so they were not really up to scratch, and perhaps the first set of tools to buy would be individual tools that were maybe a bit more expensive, or you got to use them at a club?
You see, the thing with the generic sets that come in from China, I've found teaching people with them, and also my own set, is the quality of the steel is a bit hit and miss. I mean, my set was really good, and they all still work. I mean, that's the bowl gouge, and it's only got a little bit left on it. But it did me proud. It did me good for the first 2 years, I think, before I upgraded and started getting properly serious. So it's a little bit hit and miss. I would rather, if I was to go back again and I had a little bit of money in the budget, I would buy individual tools, full size individual tools. But that's the benefit of hindsight, I suppose. A lot of the sets, I'm not going to name names, but a lot of the sets, the handles are just too short. And you Sorry.
Okay, just to say hello to Doug from Doug Miller's in, Lucy Bundyro's in, Roger Kent, Malcolm Douglas, Dewey Shed's in, Grandma Ruth Tube's in the lounge. James Crawford's in. Where's my beer, dear?
Thing is, a lot of these, Crown, Robert Sorby, Record Power,
Henry,
they all do.
Taylor.
Yeah, they all do starter sets now, don't they? 5 or 6 gals just to get you going for a budget. Even Simon Hope does a starter set, doesn't he? So
Does he? Oh, okay.
yeah, he does the basic 3 handles and 4 tools, I think it is.
Was it the interchangeable handles that he uses?
You can either get. I think they was promoted on Facebook today. Funny enough, you can either get the ones with the grub screws or the quick release. So and the same tools, just different handles. So
I haven't seen that set.
have you not?
No,
That was on Facebook today.
no, I haven't seen that set. But whenever we have students, we give them full size tools. Full length tools. The proper length handles and stuff. And everybody will benefit from a full length tool. The slightly shorter ones, they're a couple of inches shorter than the stuff that comes in sets. Put my words in the proper sentence. The tools that come in a set generally have slightly shorter handles on the longer tools, such as the bowl gouge. And I think a longer handle on a bowl gouge is far more useful than the shorter one that comes in the sets.
Alan Gibbs got a question there. If you're saying the handles are too short, what is the standard size or the correct tool?
Good question, Alan. I would say on a bowl gouge, the handle should be 14 inches, 16 inches. Hang on, I'll measure one.
Rex B's just joined us evening. Rex, he says he's in the middle of a cow pasture taking a rest.
Well, don't blame mate. Chill out.
Moo to you, Rex. Start singing, Rex, or whistling.
It's nice that you're laying in the middle of a field, surrounded by cow pats, and you think of SK Crafts. Thanks for that, Rex.
Yeah. I was in a field once taking some photographs, when I was a photographer many years ago, and I heard the cows around. I started whistling, and they all come right around me, and they were just like inches away, listening to me whistle. There for an hour. Got some lovely photographs of their faces. They love music. Sorry.
I would suggest a bowl gouge with a 14-inch handle.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just that extra little bit on the end gives you so much more control than you would do with a 12-inch.
And it also gives you
got little arms.
extra.
If you're just starting turning, you're not going to know that.
No.
And the other thing is that little bit extra longer handle gives you that little bit of extra reach over the tool rest as well, if you need it. So
yeah, good question.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and 12 inches. Hang on, I'll go measure it again. Hang on.
That's why I like the Hope tools, because you can vary the handle lengths on the same tool.
The thing is, those tools, I'm not knocking them, but I can't get on with the size of them. They're big.
What? The handles?
Yeah, the handles are too. I've only got short fingers, so they're too big. Don't have piano fingers. Even in Christine and Michael.
You've only got stubby little fingers, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, yes.
Michael, hello.
What's Ruth saying?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a question from Ruth. What is the most expensive wood to turn? Also, what is the benefits of turning expensive wood?
She's not a wood turner. She's a wife.
She's a wife turner.
I think Kingwood's pretty expensive, isn't it?
Yeah,
never
Kingwood's very expensive. African blackwood, Ruth, as you know, and boxwood. It's like African blackwood is mega expensive now. Piece 12 inches by 3 inch square, 12 inches long, £40-50.
Yeah.
And yes, I've got lots of them, Ruth, in the garage, pieces like that.
So there's a question here, or there's a thing from Lucy. I prefer to find a short handle easier. That's
You're a
because you're
hobbit.
short. That's because you're short, though, Lucy.
Good Lord. Cornish maid Katie's in.
Hi, Katie. How you doing?
Creek Wood Turning's in.
Good evening.
Evening too. Colin at Turned Links is in. Hello, Colin. Woke up then.
One from Colin. Look, I get a set of carbon steel record tools.
First lathe, yeah.
Used today the parting tool and the square scraper that round to into a box scraper.
Yeah, I think I've got several left over from the old days, which I still use. Scrapers. They're all carbon steel. A beautiful edge.
Do they hold the edge better?
Absolutely, yeah. Carbon steel is, you get a better, sharper edge on a carbon steel. They just don't hold them very long, so you have to sharpen them more often. But they do give you a better cut. And in fact, I think Ashley Isles still make carbon steel ones as well as the normal tools if you wanted to buy them. We had a talk in our club.
I don't know.
And he brought them with us. He brought them with him, and he said we still make them if anybody wants.
Right, I think we've extinguished that subject. So let's get rid of that. Thank you everybody for your comments and your
James
input.
Crawford's in. Good evening.
So we'll go to quickly before we go to the next one. We want to talk about Martin's new his little project that he's been doing for the last month or two.
My little project. Yeah, my little project. I'm never happier than when I've got a proper project on the go. So thank you, Steve, for letting me give this a little bit of a plug. For those of you that might be on the Hampshire Sheen mailing list or a Hampshire Sheen customer, you will have received an email this week saying that our tuition has moved across to a new business called the Wood Turning School. There it is, down the bottom of the screen. Thank you very much, Steve. I think an awful lot. I spend an awful lot of time thinking and mulling things over. And I realized about a month ago, I made a mistake by bringing everything that we do as a business into under one umbrella, being Hampshire Sheen. And so I thought the best thing I can do is essentially start a new business and separate out the tuition from Hampshire Sheen, because it in my head, at least, it was just a little bit confusing. I want to learn wood turning, but I have to go to Hampshire Sheen, and Hampshire Sheen makes finishing products. A month ago, I decided to separate out the tuition and put it under the Wood Turning School, which obviously has a very clear identity of being a school of wood turning. And I've spent the last month building the business, and it's all proper and above board. It's limited company and everything else like that, because it's all got to be done proper and above board. So new business over there that's looking after all of the tuition that was on Hampshire Sheen. And what that has enabled us to do is start to give Hampshire Sheen its clearer identity back, and also form a new identity for teaching wood turning. We've increased the number of lessons that are available throughout the year. We've increased the number of courses that are available as well. There's, I think, 3 or 4 brand new project orientated courses that Les and I are running regularly. They're actually starting next year, and we're bringing in more external tutors. Emma's coming back next year. We've got Helen Bailey coming all the way down from Newcastle in January for 2 days to do some lessons. I'm seeing Colwyn tomorrow, and I'm hoping to get him back up next year as well. And also we'll probably get somebody else in as well. So we've got a very, very busy program over there at woodturningschool.net. And we're also doing online courses as well. For those of you that are familiar with the Hampshire Sheen Finishing Academy, I'm taking that format of e-learning across to Wood Turning School and putting on, we'll be building up e-learning lessons and stuff the finishing academy is staying at Hampshire Sheen, no, because that's part of the Hampshire Sheen thing. And yeah, that's what I've spent the last month doing.
Good man.
It's been a very
Do you, are you going to work towards maybe getting accreditation then for exams for people and things like that, and certificates? And would that be a scenario or not?
It is something that we might potentially look at. We will see what we can do surrounding the latest thing that's just been published on Facebook today, but we'll come on to that in a bit. But yeah, so it's still early days yet. The website only went live on the 29th of May, which was Wednesday, which also happened to be my 10th anniversary of when I picked up a gouge for the first time. So it all kind of tied in nicely. I did originally want to, stretch the build out for, a few months, but then I thought, actually, it's my 10th anniversary on the 29th. So let's just go all out and get the website ready and up and running for the 29th, which is what we did. But everything
Brian, our return is... Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say everything is exactly the same. All of the lessons happen here. I'm still teaching. Les is still teaching. Everything is still happening here. It's just under a new brand.
Website looks
the
really
Irish
good as well.
contingent's joined us. So just Brian from Upward Turn is just there.
Yeah. Hi, Brian.
With Matthew, Michelle, William Kenny's with him, and so is Joe and Glyn Senior. Oh well, get rid of him. Get rid of him, Steve. He's a bloody turncoat. He's a turncoat. Just get rid of him. Yeah.
Hope you're having a good time, guys.
Yeah, hope you're having a good day.
I'm in Ireland demonstrating next week.
Where? Where are you?
At the Woodshed.
At the Woodshed. Oh, William, there you go. Martin's down the Woodshed next week. Just around the corner from you, innit? I believe.
Yeah.
So
I can't remember the name of the club.
Okay. Good.
Ulster's, isn't it? Is it Ulster's Woodturners?
Yeah, I think it is Ulster. Yeah.
Ulster.
Lucy Bundy Rowe has just put something in the quotes.
Yeah, hang on. Just before we jump on that, this is going to carry on from what Frederick said. Frederick came up with this. What does the team think of the future of woodturning?
Okay.
Ooh.
So, which was a good question. And then there was a couple of responses from that. One of them was from Lucy saying about she spoke to, where is it? There we go.
A woodwork teacher.
I spoke to a woodwork teacher at an Oak Fair. He said he could put a pupil through their GCSE woodworking or woodwork without even doing anything practical. I don't see how you could do that personally.
No. We couldn't do that when I was at school. We had to do exams for it as well and practicals. And I learned the wood turn there. So that was at school. They don't do it anymore, of course, because of health and safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
I don't, because when I did my woodworking at school, part of the exam was theory, designing, sizes, how you're going to assemble, how you're going to make, and then the final part was making it, and then you was assessed on all your joints and how you prepared the timber and all this, that, and the other. So I don't understand how you could do that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, Brian says Ulster wood turners. That's it.
Yeah,
that's we are, Martin.
Thanks, Brian. I'll see you next weekend then. In that case,
right.
Hopefully, you can make it. Future of wood turning. I think the future's bright. It is clearly becoming more popular than it was 10 years ago when I started. It's far more popular than it was. The AWGB and the Worshipful Company of Turners are working very hard to push and promote wood turning, as are lots of people in the wood turning community. So it's got a bright future. It's certainly not going to die on its arse like some of the other crafts are. Pardon my French. Yeah, I think the future of turning is very bright.
Do you think COVID did how to give it a bit of a kickstart?
COVID, oh my God, COVID was certainly for my business, it was a lifesaver. We were very, very, very lucky where thousands of businesses weren't, because it's just myself and Natalia working, and we work on a family business, and we all essentially cohabit in 3 conjoined houses all on site. So we didn't have to worry about social distancing among ourselves because we were in a big family bubble. So the garden centre could keep working. Natalia and I could keep running Hampshire Sheen. And at the time we were making everything. So yeah, for us, it was an absolute lifesaver. Doing 3 live streams a week massively helped. And so, but you couldn't buy a lathe for 4 months. You couldn't buy tools for nearly 6 months. COVID did wood turning a big favor, I think.
Yeah, because I noticed a difference when COVID hit. How many, even just talking to people, the more you get to know more people, because obviously they're taking up the hobby. You mean, obviously being on social media, they follow you, you follow them. I think COVID did wood turn. I think COVID did quite a few home-based hobbies quite good, actually, to be honest.
It exploded, really, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, particularly as our club after wood turning, the wood turning club that I go to, we meet twice a month, and nearly every time I go there, there's one between 4 and 6 new members. Now it's 140 members in the club. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's good.
So there definitely is. It's done some good to it.
Yeah, and
Ruth
Ruth
just said when she was at school, she asked if she could do metalwork or woodwork because she wasn't interested in needlework, and sadly she was told no. And I can vouch for that because we send my shirts out to have a button sewn on.
Certainly from a teaching perspective, we're most weeks we teach 3 days a week. It's mostly 3 days a week, 2-3 days a week, something like that. And we are finding that there are quite a few younger turners coming through, where the stereotypical wood turner is gentleman of a certain age. We are finding many more people in their mid to late 30s starting up turning. And when we have coffee and when we have lunch, I always ask what they do for a living. And there are so many people that work with screens all day, every day, and they're starting to get a little bit frustrated, and they're finding that they want to do something with their hands, and they do a Google search for whatever, and then up pops wood turning, and it triggers their creativity, and then they come on a lesson and they try it out, and they go and take up turning. So there's a lot of younger people, the next generation, as it were, of turners are coming through, and that generation is early to mid 30s, maybe a little bit older.
Hayley's got a good point there. Like she says, it would be great if people could go around demonstrating in schools to let younger people have a go.
I actually contacted 4 of our local schools, and only one replied, and they wanted to know the ins and outs of everything. And we said about doing it at our own club because it's all risk assessment done and health and safety's all there, and they just didn't want to know, to be honest.
Yeah, it unfortunately the health and safety police in schools is fraught with red tape. And then you've got safeguarding issues and all the other bits and pieces, like that. I did do a demonstration at a school in Nottingham, actually, a few years ago. Can't remember when, but it's got to be 5 years ago, of course, because we've had 2 years of COVID. It's got to be 5 years ago. I went and did a demonstration in a school, and I arrived, and they had a lathe in this school. It was a standard comprehensive school, secondary school. So I arrived. I was escorted through the building by the teachers, handcuffed. No, I'm kidding.
What school was that?
Just about right, though.
Yeah, I was escorted from the car park right the way through the school, and there was a member of staff in the room all the time, and if I needed to go to the loo, a member of staff would escort me to the loo and back. So they they've got safeguarding and all sorts of other things. So I think it would put a lot of people off.
Yeah,
I agree. Roy's the boys late. You
Again.
Roy.
So
Hi,
there's
Roy.
a question there from, well, not a question, more of a statement from Frederick Day. Unfortunately, wood turn is becoming too expensive. Not only the tools, because once you have those, they will last, but the price of wood is now ridiculous. Yeah, the price of timber has gone up.
It's almost like it doesn't grow on trees anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Um,
People realize how expensive, how many people want it nowadays, so they put the price up.
I think that's partially it, but also, the cost of everything has gone up. Our minimum wage has gone up twice in the last 2 years. The price of electric's gone up. So, if let's say you're one of the tool manufacturers, all their machines use electricity, and plus Robert Sorby have just moved into a brand new premises. Just everything's going up. It's really frustrating. And certainly as a manufacturer, I'm seeing that happening in our own stuff, our own supply of stuff. So, every so often, a couple more pence has got to be added on somewhere, or we've got to make a saving somewhere else, in order to keep the prices as low as possible. It gets to a point where there's nowhere else I can make a saving, but the costs are still going up. I have to put the price up. For people, and it's really frustrating. We're not making any money. We're making less money now than we were, before COVID, because everything's going up. And if we were to match those price rises, I think every manufacturer's products would just be ridiculously expensive now. So they've had to find savings in various areas.
Trouble is, you're going to get to a stage where unfortunately, you're going to have to pass it on to the customer, right? A little bit of it, aren't you? Because you can't.
Sure.
As a business, you need to make money. That's your one.
Can't go under.
You do as much as you can to help the customers, and you want to sell the product at the most competitive price you can sell it for. But it gets to a stage when you think, I have to do it because I need to make a living.
Yeah, and the last minimum wage increase was 94p an hour.
That's a lot.
For a small business, like, let's round it up to £1. Or on an 8-hour day, that's an extra £16 a day I need to find to pay me and Natalia.
Yeah.
I mean, being directors of the company, we actually make less than minimum wage, but we need to find an extra 16 quid a day. And we work.
You imagine if you had 5 staff. You imagine if you had 5 staff there working. Huh?
Exactly.
You mean that's £100 a day nearly? You got to find extra in it.
Yeah, and if with the cost of living crisis, people are easing back on what they're spending. Where's that money going to come from? You can't just put the prices up willy-nilly to cope with it. You've got to constantly do a balancing act to try and make it work. It's very difficult.
As Colin says, delivery costs as well shot up for everything.
Because again, fuel prices have gone up, minimum wage has gone up, of course. If the delivery driver works 8 hours a day, he's got to be paid an extra £1 an hour.
Vehicle insurance.
Oh yeah, and all that stuff. But
yeah, it's a strange one. Right, so let's get on with the next question, shall we?
Down there.
Sorry, which one?
Question.
What's Haley saying?
Haley.
Young people becoming interested. Young people are becoming interested. They need actually to know what it is. If you ask a lot of young people what wood turning is, they have never heard of it. Therefore, will not be interested.
Yeah, I totally agree. But that's the education you got to worry about. That you mean, to me personally, you can be the best mathematician in the world. You can be the best. You can knock all your education out of the park. But if you can't do the basic skills of changing plugs, basic, bit of carpentry, I mean, yes, it's not just about being intellectual; it's about doing common tasks as well, isn't it? The amount of customers I go to and they can't even change a plug on a washing machine or a TV or whatever they need a plug changed on. It's shocking, really.
We see the adverts on the Facebook all the time. Can anybody come and fit a shelf?
Yeah, Steve, it could be shocking if you can't change a plug.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah, but when you see adverts, somebody come and fit a shelf.
Yeah. I know. Curtain rail. Many times I get phone calls. Can you come and fit me a curtain rail? You're like,
my husband can't do it. Yeah.
It's like, can't.
Haley's got an interesting point there. Finding young people to take up wood turning, because it's not in school. Young people discover wood turning either through their grandparents or their parents. It's almost like a hand-me-down hobby. Again, teaching the number of people I do, so many people come along and they get into wood turning because granddad's passed away, dad's passed away, and the lathe's been inherited down the family line. And it's only then that people start to, well, it's not only then, but that's one avenue that people get into turning, is through the inheritance of lathes and tools, or they remember seeing granddad as a kid. Well, not granddad as a kid, but they remember as a kid seeing granddad. There we go. That's better English. They remember as a kid seeing granddad on a lathe, whittling down or, turning spinning tops for them, that sort of thing. And that curiosity stays with them. And then when they get old enough to, think about it, which generally is going to be mid to late 30s, probably, because you've got to go through school and college and girlfriends and boyfriends and education and settling down and whatever. That it's a hobby for middle age. That's when people tend to start. But interestingly enough, and sorry if I'm waffling on, tomorrow here at the workshop we've got the AWGB youth training, or young persons training. We've got 6 kids. I think the youngest is 11, I think, maybe 12, and the oldest is 16. And they get free training at various workshops around the country. So we've got 6 in tomorrow. Les, Thorne, and Colwyn are doing some turning with them, and I'm going to be doing some airbrush with them. And it's completely free, and it's funded by the AWGB and the Worshipful Company of Turners. But again, where do young people find that? They don't. They can't. Or they don't find it necessarily unless they come across it on YouTube or TikTok or something like that, and then it triggers something. So then they start badgering parents.
So the people who the 6 children who are coming to you, how did they get to hear about it? Is it
we probably looked for them?
I don't know. I know one of them found, or one of their mums found something for them to do, but I think they might have just seen it somewhere, perhaps at a show, or granddad got them into it. Come into the garage and I'll show you how to turn a spinning top or a pen, and they've gone, I really, really enjoyed that. Where can I do some more? So then they get in touch with, granddad might know the AWGB or whatever. And he says, oh, right, get yourself booked onto this.
Yeah. Well, you just explained exactly what happened to me, because my grand used to be a wood turner. But when he said to me when I was 15, do you want to go? I'm going, that's an old man's game. I don't want to touch a lathe. Here I am.
Look at you. Look at you.
Here I am, an old man now. Right. Let's move on to the next question. Right. So, next question is, what are your thoughts on the new course from the AWGB for a wood turner certificate? I don't know if everybody's seen this. The last couple of days, this has been on Facebook. The AWGB have just introduced a wood turner certificate course. At the moment, Dennis Wake and a guy, Chris, begins with a B. I can't read his name. Anyway, who's it? Darren Chris.
Darren.
Yeah, up in Scotland. They are running 2 8-day courses. I think some of it is remote and some of it is in the workshop. I don't know the full details, but do you think it's a good idea, or what's your thoughts on it? Basically,
I think it's a good idea.
yeah, I think anything to give you a bit of a initial, a bit of a boost, and also to give you something that's recognised is worth going for. Obviously,
The AWGB are looking for other venues as well.
Yes,
It's
they
not
are.
just those two. Well, Martin's, yeah.
Yeah, Martin.
We're looking all around the country for it.
Les was involved with the development of this sort of on the periphery, and it's organised by the AWGB and the Worshipful Company of Turners, and Les has been involved with it a bit, and I've on the periphery of Les, I've put some ideas forward and stuff. It's a brilliant idea because it's a structured course over 8 weeks with, I think, at least 4 in-person lessons with a professional turner that gives people a very structured introduction to wood turning. Therefore, you're going to get the safety, you're going to get the basic cuts, you're going to be able to mount wood to the lathe, risk assess everything you do as you go through it to turn you into, or turn you from a novice turner into a competent turner. Now, the course isn't for complete beginners. It is designed for people with a little bit of wood turning experience who want to take themselves from being a novice through to a competent turner. And it is structured and it does everything that it should do in order to get people up a notch. Oh, and there is funding available as well. You can get. I've got it on screen here. Hang on. I think you can get a grant as well. Don't quote me on that, but I think there is a grant available. As a
Woodworks is in. Hello, Jamie.
I think when I was looking at it the other day on Facebook, I think with the grant, it was about 600. I'm sure. I think 680 quid sticks in my head for the 8 day, the actual course, the whole course. Obviously, if you got to travel, you got to pay for accommodation on top of that. But
yeah, Frederick's just said there about the AWGB tutor badge. This is far more comprehensive, and having run through this with one of the very first people to do it, it is a far more comprehensive course on turning rather than a tutor badge. It is actually a full-on structured course, and it's very good.
You got to remember, Frederick, when you actually teach, and a big part of it is about health and safety as well.
Yeah, and the tutor's badge, Frederick, is not for anybody learning either. The tutor's badge is for somebody that's a competent turner, and they get assessed in their competency of turning, as well as teaching somebody the basics of wood turning, to teach them the very basic, which is mostly health and safety, the basic, to be honest.
I mean, ultimately, any kind of structured learning by a competent professional turner is going to benefit the person. Bringing up COVID again, I was horrified regularly watching various videos and stuff on Facebook of people who'd got hold of a lathe secondhand, or they managed to get one before they all sold out, putting the tool to the work, snapping tool rests, breaking tools, injuries, all that kind of thing. It was horrible to see. And if I could go back and start again, which if I could go back 10 years, I would pay for a lesson, because I hurt myself on several occasions because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I had a vague idea, but that idea was a little bit too vague, and I hurt myself. I broke my nose once. I smashed up my arm, and I've had other cuts and grazes and stuff like that because I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to figure it out as I went along, and whilst learning to tie your shoelaces by yourself or learning to paint by yourself is all well and good. I really do now, as a professional, really see the benefit of having a structured lesson, even if it's a day's introduction to turning, just to get the basics. So you can mount a piece of wood safely to the lathe and present a tool safely to the lathe without the piece coming off or snapping the tool or the tool rest. At the end of the day, it can save a broken nose, it could save a broken face or a broken jaw.
You see a lot of videos where people have got stuff flying on off the lathe, and it's frightening.
It is frightening, and yes, I know lessons cost a reasonable amount of money.
Try getting a golf lesson.
It's cheaper than plastic surgery, though.
If you were to break a jaw, could you afford to have a month off work for the sake of 150 quid for a lesson? I wish I had some lessons when I first started, and it would have saved me a fortune in timber as well.
Yeah.
that learning curve goes from being a very long, drawn out curve to being like this, and it is far safer as well.
Yes, it's a strange one. Like you say, I mean, I'd say 80% of the people who come to me for lessons have never touched a lathe in their born days. They want to have a go before they buy the lathe.
Agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is right. Which is right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but going back to the original question about the AWGB wood turning certificate, if you've got some experience, if you are a novice turner or even a little bit more than a novice turner, the certificate in wood turning is a really good structured course, because you look at design and proportion and all sorts of other things like that, and the proper way to hold the tools and present the tools. And then at the end of the day, you do get a certificate, and that little certificate, does genuinely show that yes, you are a competent turner. You've learnt the basics, plus some extra bits that you would probably have found in a wood turning lesson at school or college or something like that. Yeah. They are well worth it.
So if anybody wants to know any more about the training course from AWGB, I did put the website link in the chat. If you click on that, that'll take you straight to that training certificate page. And that tells you that doesn't actually give you any prices on there, but I think you have to go to the actual people who are doing the courses. So as you can see, Dennis Wake and Darren Crisp are doing the courses. So Dennis Wake is in Hartlepool. Yeah. And Darren's in Shrewsbury. Or Shrewsbury?
Darren is up in Scotland somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shrewsbury.
We will be organising something down here as well, but we haven't got round to it yet.
Well, yeah, would you be looking into Cornwall as well, everywhere in the UK?
Yeah, they are looking all over the country.
Schools, because it's so new, as in.
So the actual training covers workshop safe and working practices, tools and equipment maintenances, wood technology, spindle work, faceplates work, and finishing. So there's 6 units, so quite a lot to learn.
And it's over 8 days as well, so
Yeah. I don't think you have to.
Go on.
I don't think you have to go there for all 8 days. I think some of it is online, isn't it? Some of the training, from what I was reading.
Yes, it is. I know that when we did it year before last for a guy from Portsmouth, he was here for 4 days.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if it says anything on there. What the actual.
And that was. I think that worked out roughly it was either 1 day a week or 1 day every 2 weeks. It's not a course you have to start on one date and finish on another date. You can do it in your own time.
Yeah, these have got these over months. So it's April 13th, 14th. This is with Dennis. April 13th, 14th, 2024. Well, we've already gone past that. So that's obviously been done already. So the next one will be September. So
Yeah, he
then
started already. He's done them.
Yeah. So then that would be May the 11th and 12th, and June the 22nd, 23rd, and August. So it's over months rather than
Hmm.
altogether.
Yeah, I think the April and May, the April and May ones are the 4 days there, and then June and August are the second 4 days for a different course. I think. I don't know, but it's a nice structured course.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth looking into. Definitely worth looking into.
Yeah.
Like, I think anything what gives you a step up is always a bonus, personally.
Absolutely.
And anything you can do to get better.
Exactly that. But like I say, like you said, that's aimed. Sorry, man.
And so every day should be a school day. You should learn something new every day.
Exactly.
Colin's saying you have to attend all 8 days. So obviously he's
right, okay.
read a bit more into it than I did.
Oh, okay. Maybe he was here for 8 days. I can't remember.
We've been asleep since.
Yeah, he's been asleep since.
Or has he?
But like I say, if you're interested, go over and have a look on the AWG website. If not, there is other training stuff on the AWG website that you can have a look at. I mean, they do offer quite a bit of training, so anybody's welcome to.
Free.
Yeah, they do. They do quite a lot of training. People don't realise actually what they do offer. But go over on their website and have a look. I mean, under training, there's loads of courses you can do. Most of them are for free. But you mean if you got to pay a little bit, then you appreciate you got to have the teachers have got to be paid. So I mean you appreciate.
Yeah,
that.
they're not actually free. The AWGP pay for them.
Well, yeah,
membership.
Yeah. Remember, they're free to. They're
if you're
free
not a member of the AWGB, then it'd be a good idea if you joined, just because you could be
for
supporting
21 quid.
some younger person.
Yeah, for 21 quid.
£1 a year, yeah.
So
that might be a thing you might want to do to support us.
So let's knock that one on the head then. I think everybody had the say on that one. Yep.
Think so?
Yep.
Nope. Yep. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. So then the final question for tonight was, which is better? Which is better? IRDs, interactive remote demonstrations, or live term demonstrations? Which is better? I personally think live demonstrations are better, personally, but that's my opinion. Just because I'm a people person, I like being around other people, and I love when people fall asleep. So you can take the mick out of them. That's what I like.
I usually carry a blackboard rubber when I demonstrate, and just not show them. What's that? This is for you lot, whichever fall asleep, because I'm a blinking good shot.
As a demonstrator, I like them both. If I had I love turning live in front of people because you get the audience feedback and stuff, and it's really nice. However, IRDs provide everybody with a front row seat. Not every club or every event you might go to has a decent camera setup. So people sat at the back may not be able to see or hear completely properly. Whereas with an IRD, I've got everything I need here for the IRD, and the camera's set at the best angle, and everybody then has a front row seat. But live in-person turning at a club is great. Love it. Can't wait till next week going to Ireland.
You get a better atmosphere, don't you? When you're in front of a crowd, the atmosphere is you feed off that atmosphere. When you're doing IRDs, it's just like being in your workshop turning normally. Does that make sense?
It's a lot harder to do. It's a lot harder to present an IRD than it is live.
It is. Yeah. You've got too many things to think about as well, because you don't have things like earworms. You have to think about changing the camera and setting the cameras up and getting everything right.
Yeah, and you've got to keep that. You've got to keep a level of energy up much higher than you do in person. That level of energy, yeah.
Sorry, Roy.
Yeah, when we say live turning or IRD, we mean the person doing the IRD is still live. It's not a video or anything.
No,
but the live turn is actually standing in front of somebody and you're in an audience. So do you prefer being in an audience, or do you prefer over the internet turning?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've only ever done 2 IRDs. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed both of them. But to me, it was doing a live stream on a Friday night. And the second one I did was very hard work because there wasn't a lot of feedback from the crowd. And when you got a crowd in front of you, as in live audience, you can find a victim in the audience and start ripping the mick a little bit to try and get them to loosen up a little bit. But when you do an IRD, you don't get that, so you can't really get that feel. So I found the second one hard work. But don't get me wrong, I like them both. But to me personally, live turning in front of an audience is more interesting.
Yeah, from your point, well, mine as well. They're all victims in my audience. It's pretty good. It's that easy.
I don't hold back either. You fall asleep in my demo, I'll make sure you wake up.
The thing is, the IRDs, of course, they came into their own when COVID came along because people couldn't go to returning clubs or any other place, and everybody bought cameras and talk to each other with them and things. And eventually the club said, well, why don't we get an IRD, blah, blah, blah. And so the demonstrations carried on. So it saved returning in a way. Just being stopped.
I was amazed at how quickly, because the Americans have been doing it for years prior to COVID. There was nobody that I know of in the UK, maybe 1 or 2 that had dabbled with it, but there was nobody in the UK that was doing streaming properly seriously for clubs. And I was amazed how quickly the professional turners, some of them, though there are far too few professional turners that actually do it, but I was amazed at how quickly a lot of them did actually take it up, and how urgent it was to get up and running to do something, because I lost about 8 or 9 grand's worth of business in demos that year. I had to get it back somehow.
Spent 6 grand on camera gear and computers, but
yeah.
Yeah, I know what it's like.
But the thing is, like you say, Martin, earlier, that if you're sitting at the back of the room and they haven't got sophisticated video equipment to see in the club, the person is still there enjoying the club event, as it were, and can ask questions. Whereas at an IRD, of course, you may be reluctant to ask questions because you sit in your armchair watching it, but you do get a front row seat, as in it's close up. You can see what's happening. So they've both got their good points.
They do.
Yeah, but
both.
Go on, sorry, man. What I was going to say was, on the other side of that, are there people who do IRDs where you said about you go to clubs, their camera systems ain't good enough to see this, but are there people who do an IRDs with weak camera systems that are in the same boat? Does that, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I suppose it could be that.
I've seen a few IRDs from very well-known turners whose camera systems could perhaps do with some investment.
Or a new mobile phone, maybe. I've seen a few of those.
Yeah.
Pay for an IRD and he does on a mobile phone,
You mean to me personally, if let's just, for instance, this is knocking off, nothing to do with IRDs, but if I'm on YouTube and I'm watching a video of a turn or whoever I've come across, and the picture quality is not very good, I won't watch it, because it's you can't really see what's going on, you can't see what's happening, and it makes it hard work. And I'm just wondering if you mean, obviously, when you do an IRD, you're getting paid for that, so really it should be crisp and clear and sharp, and like Martin said, cameras should be in the right places, pointing at the right pieces. You know what I mean? That should be that, because really they're paying for a professional service. You know what I mean? We can all go out and buy £20 webcams, but does that make it a professional IRD? You know what I mean? I know it's off the ballpark what we're talking about, but
you need camera equipment good enough to give a decent picture, at least. and sound.
Yeah, it's a real difficult one, because you could be the best turner in the world and put on the best example of tool presentation and finishing and everything else like that. But if your camera system lets you down, it lets you down. Quite literally. Be the I've seen some exceptionally good turners with doing their IRDs, and the camera setup has been below par, and it has spoilt it, because it's taken the edge off how good they actually are.
And how much you can see.
Yeah, but then on the other side of things, even with in-person demonstrations, there is a very large element of performance. You've got to, you can be the best turner in the world, but not know how to present to people, which makes people bored. So you say, oh, I went to see Joe Bloggs at X Club last night. The best spindle turner in the world. Let's call him Joe Bloggs. And it was boring.
He's got a personality of a spanner. Yeah.
But what was actually being shown was the best example of spindle turning ever. But if the presentation isn't there with the demonstrator, it ruins it. And likewise with IRDs as well. Learning to do an IRD, my God, it's difficult. As these two will know, it's very, very difficult to present an IRD and keep that energy level up, because you're in a little box on a screen. Microphones have a habit of flattening out diction and intonation, so you've got to accentuate various words, you've got to do bigger gestures, you've got to change your diction so you're sounding like you're going up and down a little bit more like that to get people engaged. So learning to present an IRD is very different to learning to present in front of people.
And I think when you're demonstrating, you've got to be a bit of a showman, because you can't be nervous. You've got to be there. You got to be up there. You got to be confident, and you got to be pushing yourself out there. And I found with a lot of clubs that you'll go to some clubs and you'll get 30 questions chucked at you. Then you'll go to another club and they'll just sit there with their arms crossed all night. And you're like, okay, I need to work at this one. So you start chucking questions out there, and you start taking a mick and things like that. And you have to get them going. But I found once you get them going, they free up and they start interacting a little bit then.
And that's just basically nerves on their part, I believe. Because it sounds like that. Because I've had some people sit there, for about an hour, then you have a break for a cup of tea, and they'll come right up to you and they'll ask you questions, and you haven't got time to drink the tea because they're asking you questions, and they're all blah, 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 blah. And you think, well, he's just woken up, and then they sit back and then they're this again. It's weird.
Yeah, I think it could be. I think it could be because people are scared of asking a stupid question, or what may be perceived as being a stupid question. So I could put I could sit there and think, oh, I've got this question, but I'm sure the answer is really simple, so I'll go and ask him when there's nobody else around.
Yeah, that could well be. And the other thing in clubs is, like Roy says, there's always somebody taller than you sitting in front of you. But then, Roy, you are a hobbit, so you know what you expect.
Yeah. Frederick just mentioned something. He's just said that, is it worth investing in all this equipment following COVID?
And the clubs still do IRDs.
Depends what you do.
It depends. If you want to get on the demonstration circuit, then I would say no, because clubs are now booking people to go back to the clubs. If you want to start streaming on YouTube, or maybe doing professional demonstrations to clubs overseas, then yes, absolutely. But in order to get demonstrations overseas in the US and Canada, they need to know who you are, and you're not going to get known unless you have a reasonably good presence on social media these days, or you are well known and you're selling work into those places regularly anyway. So yes and no. That's a terrible answer, Frederick. Sorry.
It's correct though. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I've been demonstrating for 2 years now, and I've only ever done 2 IRDs. I would love to be able to get over the pond to IRD, but like you said,
Getting your
people
name,
need to
still getting your name out there. innit?
people need to know who you are, and not a lot of people know who I am over in the States. So that's or over the pond. So that could be another 20 years before that happens.
I've only done
Who-
what, 5 or 6, I think, over across to the US. I mean, the
I've
trouble
never
is
done the demonstration
they're
overseas.
they're spoiled for choice with demonstrators over there. They've been doing it
Oh.
for years.
Yeah,
The
I've
only
never
thing,
demonstrated.
that benefits on an IRD is when you're packing up at the end of the night, you don't get people coming asking you questions
And you just shut the door and walk in home.
because you just press end and that's it. And you've only got 2 minutes to walk between your workshop and the house, which is perfect.
Yeah.
You can go an hour and a half drive home.
I did Birstall turners in Leeds or near Leeds. I did Birstall turners for an evening and drove up and back the same day.
Wow.
There you go.
What's that from you? How far's from you? It's got to be 4 hours from you, isn't it?
It was 4.5 or 5, something like that. I got home at something stupid like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I went, I'm not doing that again.
No, I've done the 2.5 hour drive so far. A couple of those actually, but there we are. I was going to say, yep. Before COVID, there was, the demonstrator circuit, as they said. As COVID came along, and some of those demonstrators just gave up. Other ones took up IRDs. But then, as soon as COVID ended, they didn't go back. Quite a few did not go back to clubs.
Mm.
They said, I'm not demonstrating anymore. I've had enough of it, blah, 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 travel, I suppose, and things like that. And clubs really need people to be able to demonstrate to them at their club as well. They like the social interaction. So
They do. Yeah, a lot of what I would call old school professional turners,
they love you,
all of the old regulars on the circuit, yeah, they've stopped.
They've stopped.
And there are a lot of clubs who are struggling now because of that, because of COVID.
Or they'll only do clubs within an hour's drive of where they live, which may only be 2, 3, 4 clubs tops.
Yeah, tops. Yeah. So just bring me on to one point there then, with demonstrators. If you are, or you think you want to do a demonstration for somebody, or join the demonstrator circuit, then the AWGB are doing a demonstrators course to become a demonstrator. It's not fully up and running yet. Mick Hambry is looking into it at this moment in time. And we're getting some courses together where you could go to a course and not learn necessarily, but learn how to be a demonstrator, or the good points about it, not the bad points.
There already was a course for that, Terry.
Yeah, that was cancelled. That was COVID killed that off.
Oh, did it?
And the person then, or the course that was being done then disappeared. So it's being regenerated now.
Oh, right. Okay.
So.
Good.
It's a very different kettle of fish. Turning for an audience than it is just turning on your lathe by yourself. Very different. It's great fun. I absolutely love it.
It is brilliant fun.
Trouble is, a lot of people can't do it. There are a lot of people in clubs who might be absolutely amazing turners, but as soon as they get in front of a crowd on a lathe, they just go to pieces.
Yeah,
it's stage fright.
Yeah. Well, Roy's pretty outgoing. Roy, and he says here he did his first 25-minute demo, so that's only a small one. Normally it's 2 hours at his club in Ely for the novices, and he was very nervous. And it's unlike Roy to be nervous at anything when you meet Roy.
I always get nervous before a demo. Always. When I came to see you, Steve, I was pacing around and popping in and out and nipping to the left for 5 minutes. It's because I get nervous before a demonstration because
that's a good thing.
It is a good thing, and it's because it's a performance. And I think as a demonstrator, you need to think of it as a performance, because I could stand there and turn a bowl quite happily, but I have to present that to a group of complete strangers, and and explain exactly what I'm doing, what the tool I'm using is, why I'm using it like this, how to use it, the grind I like, the length of handle I might like, the health and safety surrounding it, the wood that I'm using, the mounting method, etc., etc., etc. So,
and you've got to make it interesting.
And you've got to make it interesting. Yeah. So you've got to think of some anecdotes, or as Terry said, you've got to find somebody in the audience, talk to them for a bit, and if you see, you might, ask them a question, or that kind of thing. It's a very, very, very. It's a really fun thing to do, and I absolutely love it.
The thing is, the way I look at it is, if you get nervous before you do it, that means you care enough to think about what you're doing. And you're going to put your best into it. If you just walk up to it and go, right, this is what I'm going to do, blah. I mean, I've seen demonstrators who just stand there, just mumbling through it all the way through it. This is what I'm doing this. And it doesn't make it entertaining. I think you could be a mediocre turner and be entertaining, and you'll still end up with a good demonstration.
Yeah.
And you could be the world's best turner, and people say we're not asking him again.
Yeah, because you don't explain anything, you don't talk, you mumble. You know what I mean? And yeah, I love it. I just thrive on it. I love it.
So, Roy, did you like? I mean, I know you were nervous. I'll ask you the question. You going to do it again, though? Are you going to learn that? You're going to say, "Yeah, I can demonstrate. I'll do that." Yeah. Were you at the end of it happy? Yes, or I'm never doing that again. What was your thoughts on that?
You're asking them,
Roy.
Oh, Roy.
When he said he was very nervous and all that. Did it do him some good to be nervous and enjoy doing it? Yes, he did like it. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm actually at your club soon. Next week, is it? Next month? Or this month, Roy. We're doing thread chasing for you, okay?
Ely.
Which club's that? Oh, Ely.
Ely.
Yeah. That's Guild, isn't it? Ely Guild.
Oh, well, I'll see. I'll sit Roy in the front. He's the one that's going to get ragged all night.
Roy always sits in the front. He's the first one there normally. He gets there early so he can get all the deals.
Yeah, is it? They do deals, do they, as well? That's good.
Well, I have an old boy usually come in with some wood. I think it's for, if I remember right, it's for the deaf people, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they have an old boy there selling wood. I'm sure it's for deaf people. Anyway.
Brilliant.
Good little club.
Well, look at that. We've been an hour and a quarter now.
Wow.
Good. Has anybody quickly, before we pack up, has anybody in the chat got any questions they'd just like to chuck in there quickly? We'll give it 10 minutes, and if not, we're going to go. Because it's Friday night, and we don't want to be here all night.
We're teaching 6 kids tomorrow.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
I'm sorry to hear that, Roy. The old boy passed away. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's all I've heard the last 2 weeks. People passing away.
Have you?
Yeah. 2 customers. They passed away.
I mean.
You stairs you were fitting, Steve.
Yeah.
No, one of them was 86.
Oh. Did you pay it first?
Oh, no. I haven't worked for him for a long time. But, I mean, when you work for someone, you have a little bit of attachment to them, don't you?
You do, don't you? Till the check clears.
I could listen to you free talk all night. God, Lucy must live a boring life.
Yeah, well, you're living with Andy. That's the trouble, Lucy. No offense, Andy. Just, that's you.
So just quickly, while waiting for any questions to come in, if anybody has any questions, then email them to me. I will put my email in the.
Were there any from Steve? Were there any coming that you want to go through tonight? If nothing comes in from chat
tonight, no, because I can't. They're on an email. I don't know if I can find them, to be honest. Let's have a quick look. What was I going to put in? Oh, my website. No, not my website. Email. btinternet.com.
I've been just while Steve's faffing for many months now. I've been on a turner's block, as it were. I've been on a real low patch as far as turning's concerned, which is which is one of the reasons why I don't see much of me on social media.
Everybody gets it, though.
Sorry.
Everybody gets that as well.
Yeah. But I am at the moment on an enormous creative high. Hence the new website build, the woodturningschool.net. And I'm handing even more of the businesses over to Natalia so I can actually free up some time to do some turning. And I've got one idea that I cannot get out of my head until I actually do it. So there'll be something soon from me.
Give us a hint.
No, you can't. No, don't give us a hint.
Give us a hint so I can do it Sunday night.
I haven't even it's fully formed in my head, but it's kind of cloudy until I actually do
Get
it.
on and try it. Yeah,
I see one of those little Martin bubbles floating around in there.
Oh, I'll tell you, there are lots of those. My head's like a bubble bath at the moment. These ideas firing off in my head.
I've got to a stage now. I have to write things down because if not, I forget. You can't see, but
I do write it down actually. When
I'm sitting here tonight writing things down because I have things pop in my head. So I'm sitting there writing things down.
Yeah,
I have actually started using a notebook.
Yeah, I have to because if not, I just forget.
Yeah,
if I'm thinking about YouTube, I've got to think to myself, and I'll write it down and think, can I do that in 2 hours? Or can I do that in an hour and a half? You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's something that takes all day and I'm not going to stand all day on YouTube for any reason, But I think I'm doing that. Or same as demonstrations at clubs, can I do that in 2 hours? Hour and a half.
I've got one. Does you know that box I did for your club, Steve?
Which one? Sorry.
The box.
The box. Oh yeah.
The next part of that is actually to have an insert for the tenon and the shoulder on the inside, and I want to be able to get that down to 2 hours to take that out to clubs, because that's a really nice box to have a two species box.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. You manage it?
That's sorry.
You think you manage it?
I think I will when I get the tooling order right. Yeah. First time I did it took hours and hours and hours because I was doing it all arse about face. So I've just got to get the tooling order right and it'll work, I think. And the other one is the other idea I've got should be able to be done in a couple of hours as well. We'll see.
So, Christine and Michael, does anybody do refresher courses for any oldies who have had a break?
Yes,
we do.
Yes, of course we do.
Contact mine.
Mine. I don't know where you live, Michael and Christine, but Martin will sort you out.
Oh, they know where we are. They've been here before.
Oh, well, there you are then.
Well, Michael has. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do a course that will be suitable as a refresher.
There you go, sorted. Right, I don't think anything else come in. Is there anything else that you guys want to chuck in there quickly before we go?
No, only I'm on Sunday night, usual 7:00 at Heckington Arts.
That's it. You keep plugging it.
I'll keep plugging it. See you all there. I want you all there so I can abuse you.
Oh dear.
You on this week, Steve?
Yeah.
Sunday or not?
Hashtag week. Of course I'll be there.
Is it? All right. Okay.
I will be honest. I'm going to take a little bit of a step back from social media on YouTube and side. The reason being is I'm running out of time. I'm running out of hours in the day to do stuff. So I need to sacrifice something. And unfortunately, YouTube, I'm going to try and get more videos done. But I might not be doing lives every single week. I'm going to keep the special guest airworms and I'm going to keep this, but I might not be doing Friday night lives and Sunday lunchtime lives every single week. So
that's okay. They didn't like you anyway, did they?
That's the point. So it don't matter.
I said this weeks ago, and I think I said it when I was guesting back in April, that I want to get back into doing a little bit more live stuff. But time is not friendly.
No, it's not.
I'm fortunate enough that I'm retired, so it doesn't really.
So I mean, I'm running a business. I'm trying to do loads of stuff for the Wood Turning Club. I'm teaching. obviously YouTube, and it's just not enough hours in the day. And then I've got to do stuff at home as well because I've neglected the gardens and the house for
You
the
have an,
last
you
2.5
got an
3 years.
extension with about 30
Exactly.
bricks in it for the last 10 years.
Exactly. So I need to. Well, I would say 7, but I'll give you that. But yeah, I need to.
Nicholas says 10.
I need to really crack on. Really get my finger out and get on. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to spend all my days in the workshop just turning, but unfortunately, real life sometimes gets in the way.
Yeah.
Oh, Frederick's just come up with an interesting one. Is muscle memory perishable? I think
yes.
it is.
It is. If you don't do it for a while, you lose the touch.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
I think that the old adage of it's like riding a bike. If you don't ride a bike for a while, you might be wobbly for a few minutes whilst you regain your balance, but then it will come back again fairly quick.
Back again, yeah. Exactly. It is.
Yeah. I must admit, I noticed the difference. If I haven't been on a lathe for a couple of weeks, I noticed the difference. Till you've been on it for a half hour just to get you back in the swing.
Definitely need that.
Yeah, I've got to make a film on Sunday.
Film.
Okay.
Yeah.
A whole film.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be at least an hour and a half, I think.
Wow.
For the club.
Your club?
Yeah, for 360. Wood turning 360.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I've been asked for it.
Well, tell them about it, Martin, because we might get a few members then.
Oh, have you noticed? I'm not actually all branded up.
I know. I did notice that earlier.
Yeah.
New jacket coming?
It's my new waistcoat for the videos that I'm going to be doing on the wood turning school. No branding, because I've watched back some of my old videos where I'm all patched up, as it were, and the patches are really distracting. So I've
gone neutral,
stripped them down, as it were. But yeah, wood turning 360. You can wood turning 360 is an online wood turning club. We meet twice a month, the first Monday and generally the third Monday of the month, where there's a professional demonstration from somebody in the world on the first Monday, and then a discussion meeting on the third Monday of the month. And it's my turn to demonstrate this coming Monday. But I've been asked time and time again to do a video on photography and how to take decent photographs of your work. And I need to make that video on Sunday.
Good.
Yeah, because it's very difficult to do a live demonstration taking photographs in the garden and then moving to the living room or the dining room. So I've got to do a recorded demo.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. It should be good, because one of my biggest bugbears. Sorry, I'm waffling. When I get on a topic, I'm off. One of my biggest bugbears is seeing mediocre photos of people's work.
Because it doesn't do the work any good, does it? It doesn't make
it doesn't, and particularly if people are selling stuff and the photograph is terrible. The piece is fine, but the photograph is terrible. And it's very simple to actually, once you know 3 or 4 very simple rules, it's very easy to take a decent picture of a piece of work.
My hardest problem is finding a decent backdrop. That's my hardest problem.
Oh, well, you see, I'm going to show you how to do it without a backdrop.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to do it without a backdrop. Lucy's just said, yeah, Lucy's a club member. She says, talk about last minute. Yes, I know, Lucy. I was planning on doing it and filming it over the last few weeks, but I decided to start a new business instead. Because why not?
Frederick Drake just put up, he says his picture in the Chestnut Finishing Products newsletter today nearly fell off his perch. Well done, Frederick.
Well done, mate.
Excellent.
Good achievement, that is.
Royce just said, that's good, Martin. I've just bought a large photo box for my pictures. We're not going to use that.
There is a video. there is a caveat to that. Not everybody wants to buy a a light box. So this demonstration is primarily on not using a light box, but I do have a video on YouTube of using one.
Yeah.
I used to use all the time.
After you watching your video that you did where you showed how to use a light box, I bought one, and I think they're great, but they're just something you got to keep putting up, taking down, putting up, taking down, putting up, taking down. And I'd rather just have something. If I had an area where I could just set up an area,
Oh yeah, you need that.
That's where the photographs would be. That would be it. But I just haven't got.
The only thing with that though is that it gets covered in dust and crap, and it should be cleaned every time.
Yeah, well,
and I know cleaning, Steve. So just set your box up every
time.
Yeah, but I don't mind cleaning. We had this discussion earlier.
We did.
I've actually got a light box as well, a big one, but I can't. Well, I think Ruth might not be listening now. But if I take over the granddaughter's bedroom next door, I'll maybe put it up. It's about all. Unbelievable.
It is a bit of a faff. Okay, let's put it this way. It is a little bit of a faff putting up a light box.
The lights outside and all that.
Photograph one piece, but you might have spent 2 or 3 hours turning that piece, and you want to record it as well as you possibly can. So put in that 2 minutes of effort to put it up, and 2 minutes of effort to put it down, and take a nice photo of it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Particularly if you sell your stuff, take decent pictures if you're selling your stuff.
Well, Charlie Williams just come in. I don't know whether you've been listening for a long time, Charlie. Just seeing your name. I'm new to turning. He took it up because of an illness. Well, welcome to the club, mate. Hope you enjoy it.
You hear that, Charlie?
Charlie, if you need any help or any advice, anybody in this chat is always willing to help you, mate. But thanks for coming over anyway.
Yeah, I'm really fired up about making this video on Sunday.
Good. We're looking.
I bought a gimbal.
You bought a gimbal?
I bought a gimbal. Yeah.
Which one you bought?
The Hohem.
Oh no.
M6 iSteady.
Right.
Nice. It's really good, and it's really good. But I haven't used it yet, and I'm itching to use it. So we might be using it on Sunday. I don't know yet.
Okay. Is it 360? Just asking on Monday the 3rd, is it?
Yeah.
My wedding anniversary.
3 days. My birthday's on Wednesday.
I'll be there.
Is it Wednesday? Thursday. Thursday's my birthday. D-Day.
D-Day.
Just to let all you people interested know, I'll be on holiday from the 5th. So. Bye.
Again?
Yes.
Again.
Where Mallorca. Mallorca. Oh, that's nice.
That's the Thursday you're going, isn't it? That's the Thursday.
I'm going Wednesday. Wednesday to Wednesday. So.
All right.
Because Pete didn't want to do my live on Sunday the 1st or whatever it is. So.
Oh, Colin says it will take me most of the day. Yes, it probably will take me most of the day, Colin, but that's fine. I'm quite used to making long videos. That's not a problem.
Then he's got to edit it.
Then I've got to edit it, and I've got because the thing with this demo or this video is that it uses a phone for the camera, because not everybody's got an SLR. So it's going to be using the in-phone camera, and the in-phone camera and the in-phone editing software. So you don't have to buy anything else, and it's going to be using an older style smartphone rather than a brand new one. So most people are going to have something like that. With screen recordings as well, so you can see exactly what the phone is seeing whilst I'm taking the picture and stuff. So it's a lot of work.
Cool then. My phone camera is far superior to my DSLR.
Well, that depends on how you use it, Lucy.
You got the wrong camera. You don't know how to use that camera, then, Lucy.
You don't know how to use a DSLR, right?
I will show you some tricks in your standard phone on how to use your standard phone to get DSLR-esque pictures.
Oh, Charlie Williams, here we go. What's this? Thank you all. I'm trying to get to one of your evenings at Milton, Steve. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Charlie. We will be there on, let me just tell you exact date we will be there. It is Wednesday, the 12th of June is our next meeting. You are more than welcome to come along, mate. Right, I think we're finished, aren't we, boys?
That's your club, isn't it, Steve?
Yes, it is my club, yes. Middleton, yeah.
Charlie, it's a lovely club, very welcoming. Just make sure Terry's not there.
Yeah, Terry's not a member.
Just up the road, down the road from me. So I may well be there.
Terry's not a member, so you could be lucky.
Oh,
actually
no, Charlie, it's a great club. Very, very friendly bunch of people, and an amazing telly.
Yeah,
an amazing TV screen they've got there.
Good picture quality as well.
It is.
Lucy says her phone is the cost of a new DSLR.
Say that again, Mark. What'd you say? What'd you say, mate?
The picture quality on your TV at the club is far too good.
Amazing.
It's good because that means people at the back can see everything that's going on. That's
true.
That's why we had
it. The demonstrator's got to be on form, and he can't just blag it.
Well, because I operate the cameras for a fee, we can put a blur bit over and down again if you like.
Have you been to our? You haven't been to our club in Demonstrated, Martin, have you? To Lincoln?
No,
Lincolnshire. Well, we'll get that organised. We got 4 huge, great televisions to each side.
Yeah.
Really?
Cameras, they're massive. Yeah.
They use their remote. They use them remote cameras.
We use remote gimbal cameras as well, So.
Do you?
The only trouble is they want you to turn in the dark.
No, that's being set out. I've been on to him and said, because I've got to do the demonstration Christmas time. I said, I'm not doing it unless you got a proper lighting system up there. So that's being dealt with as well.
I turned all night in the dark, and then 5 minutes before the end of the demo, they go, "Oh, we'll put this light on there for you."
Up. Turn the dimmer up. Came up bright.
That's another thing with IRDs is poor lighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor lighting on any demonstration. Poor lighting just ruins it.
Yeah, true.
Overexposed as well as underexposed.
Oh, I've spoken to you about that, Steve. Lock your exposure.
I've bought my card.
You've bought a grey card.
Yeah. I bought a grey card. 18%. I couldn't find a 17%.
Got over grey. Well, 18 it's due.
It might also be worth making if the cameras ever have trouble focusing, it'll be worth making a focusing mask.
Right. Okay. I have got. Is that the one where like get cross in the middle and all that in them?
Yeah, crosses and diagonals, and it's just black and white.
Spurs.
Because cameras focus on contrast rather than the piece.
Okay. Can I print one of those, or have I got to buy one of those?
Oh no, you can print one.
Okay.
Yeah, you download them.
They're kicking around somewhere.
Okay, I'll have a look. See if
and then just hold it right up against the piece, and then focus on it, and then lock your focus off.
Yeah. Well, I found out how to custom the white balance, like we was talking about the other night.
Cool.
I had a fiddle about, and I found that they've actually got a section on white balance where you can put your own settings in. So I can set it on the grey card, and that'll keep that setting. And obviously, every time I do whatever, I just double check, make sure that's right. But it's easy enough to do.
You haven't got Windows in there, have you?
Only on the computer. No Windows in the workshop.
No Windows. No,
it's all artificial lighting.
As long as you've got the same lighting setup, you shouldn't have to change the auto white balance because you've got no ambient or you've got no daylight coming into the windows.
All right, okay, perfect then. Yeah, I always use the same lights. I've got 2 above and then 2 further over just to give me a bit of floodlight.
Good.
Right, okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Right.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in.
Thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Martin, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Terry, as always.
Absolute pleasure, mate.
Thank you to everybody who came in the chat and joined us. I appreciate your feedback and your comments. Excuse me. If there's anybody who wants to come on camera for 10-15 minutes to have a discussion with us or bring their points across, then you are more than welcome. Email me. I did chuck my email in the chat. Anybody, you should all know the email by now anyway. But other than that, we will see you in a month. End of June, I would imagine we'll be back, but we will put a link up and let you know. Don't forget, I'll be back on Sunday for #week. That's a plug. And then Terry will be back on Sunday evening, 7:00. So other than that, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care for now.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
See you
Bye
guys.
for now.
Night.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Everybody, good night. Have a super weekend.
Yep. And it's going to